What's up, folks? Welcome to another edition of The Loop. Yours truly, DJ CEO. The Loop is a show in which we talk to folks who are of the culture, who are part of the culture, who are in the culture, who are contributing to the culture. And we get into a conversation with them, not, just on some regular, let's, get through your resume and all that type of stuff. But we really get into the who, what, and whys and the reasons and the purposes as to why our guests move the way they do, why they love what they do so much. And today's guest is a really, really, really good friend of mine. He's a brother. At the end of the day, he's a brother. I've known him for about maybe a little over 10 years now. We met back in New York City. He is a world-renowned choreographer and dancer. He's also a world-renowned tour DJ. And now, which we'll talk about later in the conversation, is now building up his chef empire as well. So
Yes.
He's multifaceted. He's a Renaissance man, to say the least. Please welcome to the show my good friend, Adrian Wiltshire, a.k.a. DJ DUBZ. Welcome, brother.
Welcome. What up? Pleasure to meet everybody on the loop. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, CEO. It's a pleasure to be in your presence virtually.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, we've been rocking for a minute now. We came into I guess each other's awareness or a conscious. I want to say back in about 2009, around that time,
Yep.
when I was doing a very successful event series in New York called the Influence Series, and then we came to know each other through not just my friend Mike, another good friend of mine, Mike, but your brother and your partner in the dance world, and Boogie.
And Boogie, yep.
And the Mountain Boys. So that's definitely where I want to start with you as far as your love and your passion for dancing and choreography, and where that came from, and how that just kind of became a huge part of your life.
If I take you down a little memory lane trip, I started when I was 3. I became I drove my mom crazy dancing around the house. She said I would just do nothing but just tap my feet everywhere I go. And at that point, she didn't know if it was talent or passion at that point. She just knew it was annoying her. My mom's West Indian. Any West Indian parent, hey, stop banging on it. You know how the West Indian people. So fast forward, a friend of hers told her about a dance studio in Brooklyn, East 4th and Church, way down on Church Avenue, B35, all the way down to that community. We came upon Janet's dance studio. She said, I immediately got there, saw the pictures, saw the students dancing, hopped out the stroller, and was just moving. At that point, Miss Janet was like, you have to put him in our school. I won't draw the story out. That school became a huge part of my life. Miss Janet became my dance mom. I received several scholarships. I started in tap and jazz my first year. My mom's a mom of 4 now, single mom of 4 at the time. She was still in nursing school and in college, trying to figure it out. And she got into a place where she couldn't afford it anymore. The school, I was their only boy there at the time, gave me a scholarship. My love for dance grew. It grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Miss Janet trained me to be, and I say, a Black man that defied what the outlook of a male dancer was, to be different. And, she taught me to be a teacher and a leader early in life. I became a dance assistant dance teacher at the age of 14. I was already competing in the best competitions, Mr. DEA, Star Power, the Royal Academy of Dance, and I trained in all forms at that time, tap, ballet, jazz, modern. I was her male protege, and I also took that in to be one of the best. I wanted to defy the fact that all male dancers were not straight. It was okay to be a Black man that dance and was straight,
Mm-hmm.
you know. With that, I got introduced to all the major performing art high schools and junior high schools. So I attended My 11. I was in the dance program there.
My 11 is
Then
well
My
known in New
11
York
is
City.
well known in New York.
Yeah, well known. Yeah.
I was in the gifted program there. Thankfully, you know, I was very smart, educated. Father above all, you know, throughout my entire school year, I was always part of the gifted program,
Mm-hmm.
always in a magnet. Fast forward, My 11, Miss Janet, with the training of both, helped me get into LaGuardia High School. I applied for all the top range performance dance school, of course, LaGuardia being number one. I got into LaGuardia. We decided to take a step further. And this is where I knew I was extremely talented, when not only was I winning every single competition, I was the only guy in a competition to come in and do in my solo routine a tap, jazz, and ballet modern, a tap, jazz, and ballet piece in 2 minutes. Like switching shoes, like in the middle of it, switching shoes. Like they had to. there was no competition for me at that time and point. Right. Because, you know, I from young, I said, it's cool to just, you know, we motivate each other, we aspire. And with her being in my corner, I said, why is this category just one style? She said, it's not. I said, well, can we be the one to do it all? Mm-hmm. She said, if you can pull it off, we'll do it. I said, well, we're going to do a tap, jazz, and ballet piece. I'm going to start in my tap shoes. I'm going to wear my ballet shoes underneath. I'm going to come out those in the middle of the performance, slide to the side, slip them out, and start Bluebird's Variation, very classical piece known in the ballet world. And then go into I Like It Like That. You know, like she choreographed it. I choreographed. I had the best teachers at that school there. And again, it showed you the level that I wanted to exceed as a dancer. There was no minimum for what I wanted. There's nothing that could stop me at that point. I knew I didn't want to deal with I didn't want to be put in a box at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, I'm already the male dancer that's straight and doing ballet and living in the hood. So, right. You know, I wanted to do more than that. So we fast forward. What that brings me to is not only being an assistant dance teacher. When I was auditioning for LaGuardia, I said, on top of auditioning LaGuardia, I want to audition for School of American Ballet, big New York City ballet company, Metropolitan Opera. I wanted Ailey. I wanted Dance Theater of Harlem. I wanted it all. I auditioned for all of them. I got into all of them, and I went to all of them.
Wait, how do you go to all of them? Because LaGuardia is a high school. Like, it's a high school for performing arts, but it's a high school. All these other things are more training centers, right?
That's what my day consisted of. I would be in school 7 a.m., leave school, and my extracurricular activity was with all the other schools, Ailey, and I would come home at 11 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock at night. My boys would be like, yo, man, you gonna do anything besides dance? I danced my entire life. To when I got into high school, I found the Amount Boys. Anthony was doing his thing. He is the founder of the Amount Boys, and us two, you know, linking together, I felt like I brought the business side of it because I knew so much of the entertainment world, not knowing that's already the entertainment world. It was, yo, with me and you together, we can make Amount Boys move like this. Right. Which then, little people don't know, I learned to do hip hop in 96. I focused on being a hip hop dancer in 96. Wow. Okay. Age of 16, to understand the difference between street jazz and hip hop, because hip hop was still street jazz in the commercial world, but underground hip hop is what I really began to learn once I got into high school, met Ant, and found out what the 5 elements of hip hop were, what hip hop really meant. Okay. That's when my career shifted. Okay, we're gonna put a pin in it. We're gonna come back. I just want to do something really quick for the viewers.
especially those who've been following me and watching the show for so long. You know DJ CEO and you know the brand and you know how I get down. But normally, even when I do the interviews, I kind of tone it down fashion wise. However, I knew I was going to be interviewing Dubs. So knowing that, right, I knew I had to put on a little bit because I knew he was going to come. I knew he was going to come with it. He and I have, developed a, you hear me say it all the time, style and performance. This is something that kind of was birthed in us kind of working together as DJs and just, and being partners as DJs, and we'll get into the party that we did a little later. But I just wanted to let you know why I look like this today, because I was interviewing him and I knew I had to come with it. Okay, back. So now we're gonna get to we get back to LaGuardia. Now, anybody who grows up, anybody who's in art, who's in performing arts, they all know of LaGuardia. I don't care where you're from. You don't have to be from New York. You know about LaGuardia High School, but specifically in New York, right? You know about LaGuardia because it is the premier performing arts high school in New York City. You had the likes of Marlon Wayans and Omar Epps come out of there. Nicki Minaj is out of there. Why am I drawing a blank? Notori Horton is from there. I know my boy Mark. I don't know if you know Mark. My boy Mark Williams, amazing musician. He played with the Chuck Brown band. He's now on. He's part of DJ Premier's band. He tours with him.
We've got a lot of the greats.
Yeah, the Mount Boys. I mean, who else is from there? There's a lot. There's a lot of.
They don't call it the Fame School for no reason. This is where fame originated. We are known. It is the Fame School. The movie Fame is based around Fiora LaGuardia. So, if you don't know what LaGuardia is, you've heard of the Fame School. That's the school, the Fame School, and it has put out an incredible amount of artists, inspiration, and aspiration for the time then and now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing school. So you said when you got there, Ant was already there and he already had the Mount Boys together, or
Ant came, so now Ant was part of a program called National Dance Institute, NDI, which they were an outside performance group that was heavily involved in the arts. Anthony didn't audition for LaGuardia until sophomore year.
Okay.
So I met him sophomore year, and I knew of the Mount Boys as a sophomore year. We met at a party that was happening in our school, and he was doing his moves, and I came in to show I was doing my moves, and then we clicked. There's no other way to put it than we clicked. We realized that the man upstairs brought us together for a reason. We had so many similarities, excuse me. We had equal vision. Our visions were identical. We're 7 days apart. We're same age.
Yeah, that's
same. Astrologically after that point, we about the same height, parents the same height. Like you can't even, when I start to get into how in depth and in sync our he's my soul brother. We are tied. Blood make us closer. God knew what he was doing when he put us together. To say that Mount Boys, the generation started then, and we're 20 years in now, 24, 25 years in the friendship and business relationship. So, we carried that a long way. It was a two-man group. The little history on the Mount Boys, it started as a joke. It came about because we both equally loved Bad Boy, and there was a 3-female group called Total that danced, and we wanted to be the 3-male group. Total was the 3-girl group that sung, and we was like, what's the opposite of that? We wanted to be the 3-male group that danced, know. So that's the joke of how Amount came about.
Wow.
They were Total, we were Amount. They were three group of girls, we were 3 group of guys. It was me, Ann, and JB. They sung, we danced. Literally went to a competition one day. We won the competition. The guy was like, what's the name of your group? We yelled out, Amount. And he was like, give it up for the group amount. We was like, stuck with us. From there, we turned our high school into an entertainment platform.
Mm-hmm.
Time we graduated, year 2000, we were known as a Mount Entertainment Company.
Mm-hmm.
We harvest, auditioned, and housed the best singer, the best solo male, the best solo female, the best male group, the best female group, the best male breakdancers, the best female breakdancers, a magician, the best dance group. We were a Mount Boys. We had it all. We are the only group in our yearbook that is not a senior page. If you open our 2000 yearbook, everything's a senior page. You get to the last page, it says a Mount Entertainment Company.
Wow.
And that's, we took dance and we transitioned into music. We were an legit entertainment company in high school. Like I was carrying around a Chase credit card with an S Corp in high school.
Wow.
And
wow, that's I don't even think maturity is even the word for that. I mean, because it's so far advanced that any high schooler is thinking about, especially entertainment. Because for those of us who are creatives, more often than not, like we're just focused on just doing what we love. Like I just want to do it. Like that's it. And, and you guys had the wherewithal and the knowledge to like, no, we are going to structure this. We're going to build an organization. We're going to build a company at a young age.
Yeah.
And to be successful with it. That's absolutely amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah, there was Bad Boy, and we kind of shadowed Bad Boy a lot. We, at that time and point, Bad Boy was on the market in the 90s.
Right.
They had everybody, we were following the dancers that were behind it. Shout out to like Eddie Morales, Footprint, Voodoo Ray, everybody that was dancing for the Bad Boy family. We began to study. And that's where my love developed for hip hop even more, because that's when I knew I didn't want to be just at the Metropolitan Opera. I wanted to get off that stage and then be on tour, be behind the music that I listened to, my culture, my people, ran by, nothing against classical, nothing against the Russians, because I have a strong love. If somebody asks me what's my other love other than hip hop dance, I'd say ballet. I'm a ballet brat. I would hands down Bermishnikov, Peter Bowl, then comes tap, then comes modern. Actually, modern would come last. People I would think, even in my African roots, I studied African ballet. For me, there was a different type of strength and love. So, I say when I get to the point where we wanted to be Bad Boy Entertainment, that's why Mount Entertainment was what we call ourselves, branded on my arm right here. A mount is there.
Wow.
It's a brotherhood. All the founding fours, we have the same tattoo because we knew this was a legacy. This was something that wasn't just going to be a vision for then and a thought, So we were now teaching at Alvin Ailey in 98,
wow.
99, teaching hip hop classes before they told us. And I would never forget how I felt. At one point, I felt like my own people, like the culture turned against me. And this is something I don't really speak about too much, but we were teaching at Alvin Ailey. They invited us into their house to teach hip hop, gave us a floor, gave us everything, said, this is the only place you can use street shoes on.
Okay.
Our building is not made for that. Because we were building because hip hop was so underground and it was such a different form. Me being in Ailey, I thought they would have accepted it. Two brothers teaching a different style, not trying to take away, still staying in the the fundamentals of how historical dance was. They came to us one day and told us we can no longer teach there.
Wow.
Because we were taking the influence of artistic dance away from their students, because their students began to develop a passion for taking our classes.
Wow. That sounds like jealousy to me, if you ask me.
It's
You're saying
I,
Alvin Ailey Alvin Ailey
Alvin
Company
Ailey
invited you to teach hip hop on their campus.
and we're paying to rent the studio too on top of that.
Right. So they put some money behind it. And they asked you to be there, and then because you were so successful,
Yes.
they
Access to
were just
terminate.
like, nah, you can't do this anymore. That's
And
that,
now they teach hip hop classes.
wow.
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 I
I
know.
think when I hear that, it
We were
sounds
ahead
like
of our time. We were ahead of our time.
super ahead of your time. Also, it sounds like they kind of trivialized hip hop and the passion and the spirit of hip hop in a sense, almost like, oh yeah, we'll let those little kids, teach their little
Yeah,
thing. And they didn't
it's not a
understand the
big
power.
deal.
Yeah,
They
they didn't
didn't
understand the
understand. Yeah.
power of it.
They didn't
That's
understand the
crazy.
power and the passion and the feeling it gave people. It was very liberal. Like, it comes from the streets. Not only it comes from the streets, hip hop comes from the soul.
Yeah.
So when something like that dynamic, once it's inside of the body, there's no way to get rid of it.
There's
You have
none.
a true love for it. Look at you, CEO. How long you been in the game? How long is your love for hip hop?
How old am I?
That's
That's
just
it.
enough.
It's been in me since I was
haven't
born.
given up.
Yeah,
It's brought you to this place to where you want to connect the world and the stories of people like me and everybody else that's going to be on the show. So I don't want to drag this out. It fueled us even more.
Right.
So we went looking. We went and got our own spaces at Ripley, and then later on went to one of the number one dance schools, commercialized dance schools in New York City. We went right to Broadway Dance Center.
Okay, because that's where I went. I went to. I think I came to. I don't. Were you? You or I think it might have been. Aunt was teaching. One of the classes.
His UDL.
Yeah. So UDL. So I went. I know. I went there once to check out one of the classes.
Yeah, year 2000. We went in. We said we wanted a class. We got in with Rhapsody James. We took her class a couple of times. We turned around and said, we want to teach here. She walked us to the people and said, these are the Amount boys. They take my class. They're great teachers. These are this amp. They gave us a Monday, Wednesday, 4 classes a week. I taught the 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to 11:30, and me and Aunt taught together the 3 to 4:30. It's one of the biggest hip hop classes.
Everybody knows who we are. Who would have thought I would have took it this far? B.O.B. play the guitar. Ay. Play the guitar. Play the guitar. B.O.B. play the guitar. B.O.B. play the guitar. B.O.B. play the guitar. B.O.B. play the guitar.
Everybody went to that shit. Like everybody.
Our classes would be packed 30, 40, 50 deep, sometimes 70. Sometimes we're turning people away. Now, there were other heavy hitters there, but we were a new style. We were a different breed. We brought the Amount boys into that facility. And then we up and moved to California. And I know once I moved to California, I was at a point to where I'm like, if we can do it in New York, we can do it anywhere. We turned down so many opportunities in New York. The tours, our first tour we turned down was the Alicia Keys tour. The Alicia Keys tour presented to us in Lies. I'm gonna go back a little. So before we even got to there, I'm with my company now, Block Talent Agency. That's my agency. I had them while I was in high school asking me to move to LA, quit school, get my GED just to move to LA because they knew how amazing we'd be. Like, nah, my mom is West Indian. I ain't not going for that. What do you mean, end school and get GED? We ain't got time for GED. My mom, you don't want a GED, you can't get no job. You have to dance. And at this point in high school, I wanted a dance degree. My thing was to get a dance degree. And I was like, and when I got into the business of entertainment, I was like, I don't need a degree.
You definitely don't need a degree.
To tour and be on stage. And you needed skills, you needed street smarts as that too. Entertainment hustle was all about being in the streets. The type of dancing I'm doing is in the streets. I don't need a degree to be in the streets. The only way to get you the degree in the streets is to be in the streets. The streets got to grant that to you. So, you know, I was touring in 98, my first tour, Jerome, Said You Too Young for Me, Bad Boy, you know? We wanted to be again, the connection. We wanted Bad Boy so bad. We felt like we were so connected. We manifested it. We went to the Enter the Drew tour where Faith Evans was there. Again, Ant had to go by himself. Why? Because where I go, I left to go to dance school. Had tickets for me and everything. He's waiting outside for like Eddie Morales, Punch, Goof, all of the guys that dance for Faith to let him in to dance with Drew Hill. And that's how we started our Bad Boy connection. You know, we met them one day. We had an audition. We got turned away from the Total audition. Going to an audition for Total in 99, got turned away. Eddie Morales is outside like, yo, nigga, we know you. Gave him my business card, called us 3 months later, had us meet up with Lorianne. We were like, yo, Lorianne, we just came off of MTV Hip Hop Week. We were dancing outside the MTV studios on 42nd. Now, this is when they used to shout, shine the camera outside. This is where Mount Boys is getting their debut. Like, we've got these group called these hip hop dancers called the Mount Boys outside. Changed the game from there. After we met Lorianne, we went to Rocket Studios on 37th. That was not there anymore, but legendary historical rehearsal spot. Everyone rehearsed there. If you were in New York, you mentioned Rocket Studios, everyone knows that spot. Everyone knows it. Went to go meet Lorianne. We walked in, she's like, show me what you got. I already got. Me and Aunt came dressed the same way. Gray sweaters with the MTV sweaters with the MTV logo, MTV hat turned backwards. We walked in, she was like, I love you guys already. You guys came dressed to the part. She was like, let me see you dance. She was like, you want to see us dance? Yeah, within like the first 3 steps, we're so identical. She was like, oh my God, that's it. That's it, your books. Jerome, first job.
Wow.
Lorianne gets fired. We almost get fired in the room with Hard Pierre, Diddy, Jerome, Janet, Gil Strom, Shawnette Hurd, Janet, Javier, Hard Pierre brings in Janet's choreographers. Like, yo, we want this thing to move and so on and so forth. We ready to fire us. We like, y'all not taking our job. Conference room of 10 people, just nothing but people.
Right.
Show us what y'all did with Jerome. We showed them our steps. We kept the job. 2 weeks later, I'm rehearsing with Janet's choreographer, and Janet's in every rehearsal.
Wow. You say Janet.
I say Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
The Miss Janet.
The Janet. Nasty. I just wanted to make it clear because you kept saying Janet, and I was like, he can't be talking about anybody else. Who just says Janet and expects people to know who they're talking about? So Janet.
No one in high school believed I was in rehearsal every day with Jerome from Bad Boy, Shawnette Hurd, the choreographer, and Janet Jackson sits on the couch and watching rehearsal. No one believed me. No one. It's unheard of.
Wow.
17-year, like, if I told you met me, like, I come back to school, yo, yesterday I was in the rehearsal room with Janet. I'm telling you, you'd be like, this nigga's lying. Get out of here.
Right.
Meanwhile, we're taking Janet to the corner store, buying her a tropical fantasy.
Wow.
Yes, my dude.
What?
We made Janet Jackson drink the wild strawberry, the pink one with
yeah. Wait a minute. Y'all took her to the corner store, or y'all went to the corner store for her?
We went in her limo with her driver, pulled up. She was like, what are you guys going to eat? We're going to get McDonald's. She's like, okay, get some McDonald's too. So what are you going to get with it? We like, nah, we don't drink the sodas in there. We went to the corner store right next door.
Oh, but she didn't get out the limo.
She didn't get out the limo.
No, of course. Because that would have made it like super epic. Like Janet in a bodega, that would have made it super epic.
But the guy wouldn't even recognize it was Janet. That's how, and like when she walked into the room, when she first walked into the room, I was like, is that Janet? That's not Janet. But we knew it could be her. And all she goes, hi guys, I'm Janet. It's like, and I'm like, bitch, I know you, Janet. Excuse me. I was like, yo, I know you, Janet. I'm like, oh shoot, Janet's here. Didn't click. She was like, so can I see it from the top? We were like,
what?
She's like, Shawnette, these are the guys that you told me about. Oh, I want to see them dance. It was like, you got to be kidding me. Full out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, we thought that was just a one-time thing. She was there every day, 14 days. She would come every day. I was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
So when I tell that story, I mean, that was me mid-high school, coming out of high school, walking into Broadway Dance Center, getting a class, teaching the grades.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I tell that story is because, like, you know, it was talking back to when my agent was trying to get me to move, and we were so, we didn't want to move to LA until the grounds of Amount Boys and Amount Entertainment was set.
Mm-hmm.
We were turning down tours. Lorianne came to me and asked me and Aunt to do the Alicia Keys tour. We turned it down to do our first performance at Broadway Dance Center, 2 weekends in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Amount Boys. You think you know, but you have no idea. Our flyer had sunglasses on them. We popped one eye out and kept the other shade on. And that's all that was on the flyer. So the Amount Boys. You think you know, you have no idea. You flipped it over, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 weekends in a row, show dates, $30 tickets. We booked out all 100 seats every night to do our first show, dance show.
Wow.
Just the Amount Boys.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And then so at this point, like, everything's just rolling for you, right? It's just like, it's just rolling. You're in rooms with people that you cannot believe. You're like, and
that people dream about.
That you dream about. And then you're so tight. You're so gifted. Because I always look at this like, as creatives, right? I think creatives have a gift.
Yes.
We all have a talent that we help to sharpen and, you know, make better. But what makes us special as creatives, you know, is that it's an intangible gift. It's almost impossible to explain. And it's truly just God-given. For you to say that since you were pretty much born, like, you were always tapping your feet and doing something close to dancing, means that was a gift given to you. It was in you. And fortunately enough, your mother recognized it, and
my dance teacher recognized it.
Your dance teacher recognized it, and then you just kind of took off. So I know, because I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, the first music video you did was Just a Friend with Mario?
Actually, the first video that I did was Jerome.
Okay.
But it never aired. Had a mental breakdown the day of the shoot,
Mm-hmm.
And we shot 2 days without him. We still shot the music video as Amount Boys.
Wow.
So it's just the Amount Boys. Now, this became the Amount Boys video shoot. That the first one to ever air would be Keisha. She was signed to RCA.
Okay.
It was called You Got Me Where You Want. Again.
You brought a change over me, baby. You're everything a girl could want, and you don't even know. Oh, baby, can't you see? Ooh, you got me where you want. Baby, you got me. Baby, you got me. Boy, you got me.
Again, Lorianne Gibson, Eddie Morales. That was the first time I initially started touring.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm touring, same year, right after Jerome, 98, because Lorianne got fired, Shawnette. That's it. Jerome got dropped from the label, his house. He went back to Talented Unlimited. He was at TU.
Wow.
And then Lorianne came back. You know, she was loyal to us then, gave us a call. But she's like, oh, I got a new young artist. Like I said, we were the young cats.
Mm-hmm.
If the young artist came out, they called the Amount Boys.
Gotcha.
So Keisha came out. She was signed to RCA. You Got Me Where You Want video. I was the lead.
Oh
I was the
wow.
love. I was the love interest. And
I'm gonna have to look this one up. Keisha, what's the name of it?
Keisha, Keesha. The video was called "You Got Me Where You Want." Everyone, this is where I knew Amount Boys was taking over. Everyone in that video was an Amount boy,
Mhm.
and we were developing our Amount girls.
Wow.
So
Okay.
every girl we dated was in that video, was literally dating one of us.
Wow.
Crazy story. We put eight people on. We put everybody on, bro. Keisha, You Got Me Where You Want. Eddie Morales and Lorianne Gibson choreographed. Video aired. That's when I made my first debut television show, Soul Train.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you how.
You did Soul Train. And
I'm gonna tell you
full
how.
circle. No. We're gonna get to
full
no,
circle to now.
don't. We're gonna get to that later. We'll get to that later. Don't even. 'Cause that full circle is insane.
It's gonna be crazy.
Right. But I
I'm in
remember
California at that point.
But I remember, I think because this is probably around the time I think you and I first met. I don't know if it's you had told me or we had a conversation about it, but I just remember being home and watching the Just a Friend video.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, that's Dubs.
That was my third music video.
I was like, yo, what? And I was like, oh, he really dances. Okay. He really dances. Okay. Because like when we first connected, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you really kind of first started putting your hand into like the DJ world, like really,
Yes.
you know, getting into it and learning how to DJ. Is that correct?
That is correct. I literally, I was throwing events.
Mm-hmm.
We threw our event 2009 called Look Who Came to Dance. Voodoo Ray helped us a lot in that. We,
Rest in
blessings
peace
to him.
Ray.
Rest in peace, Voodoo. We wanted to come up with an event. Now, the reason why it got to this point is I was in the industry. Now we're talking 2009. I've been in the industry long enough to know that dancers were underpaid. The commercial world wasn't recognized. I moved to LA in 2005. Backtrack a bit. You talking about the Mario thing. Lorianne talked to us again. Mario was on the scene. She says, I have a great opportunity for you. I want the Amount Boys to tour with Mario. B2K, the Scream Tour. We're in at that point. After we came out of that at that time and point, we were already transitioning, doing music, getting to know the industry. So Amount Boys was not only a dance group, we're doing music, we're recording and so forth. Now we're putting on music venues, renting out SIR. I told you we had this S Corp credit card.
Right.
So we out here blowing it out. That's when I really learned, I didn't learn then, but I learned later in life how important credit was.
Right. Right.
So not tied it up a bit, how I get to 2009 and building the relationships. We toured with Mario. I toured with JoJo. Then moved to LA. I started touring with B2K, Omarion, Keisha Cole, Diddy. What's her name? Milkshake, Khalees. We're now hitting the greats of the greats of the greats of the greats, going all around the world, worldwide. Come back to New York. We were like, hip hop was such a stigma. Like no one, it was people screwed their face when they heard it. It wasn't respected. I was dancing in the streets. I was hitting, like almost getting stabbed in the streets for being in a location that another hit group used to be at, or found out that it was a prime location. They wanted to take over it. Every Saturday we would go hit 42nd Street, the places, some of the places that people hit now, they hit because we were going to locations that were unheard of. We didn't want to be recognized. We were different from all the other hitters, like, hey, fill up the bucket. Hey,
right.
Fill up the bucket. Mount Boys was the only dance group out there dancing to Michael Jackson hours of the day, our little pennies bags and everything, creating crowds. So 2009.
Stop for a second, because I want you to keep going, because I want to get into the DJ, you as a DJ. But you mentioned something. And I just kind of want to touch on it, and I didn't want to lose it. So you talked about, being in spots or hitting spots as a dancer in the street, like doing the street dance and being in spots and almost getting stabbed, and thinking and just thinking back to like the traditional hip hop movies. When you look at movies like Breakin', or you look at Beat Street, or Wild Style, and they don't necessarily trivialize it, but they don't go in depth to how like competitive and how passionate and how dangerous the street dance game could be.
It was
So,
very,
so I want you to talk about that a little.
you know, we were amongst the 42nd Street hitters. We were young. We wanted a way to make money, sell our CDs, promote ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we turned to the streets. You know, a couple of the hitters knew we were starting to come up to flourish. One day we got to a spot. You probably know the spot. It's on Broadway, where the McDonald's is on 50th Street, right at that corner.
I know
It's got
exactly
that
what you're talking about.
open space right there. We set up there. I forgot what his name is. I keep it confidential. Came up to us and said, "Yo, y'all can't be dancing here." Pull a knife out on us.
Wow.
At that point, we only didn't know we were a threat, but we knew we made it.
Mm. Yeah.
We knew that we were doing something different and it was being recognized. The reason why people dance in the tunnel on 42nd Street now is because of us. The spots that you see on 34th Street when you come down from the Macy's and there's a little guy sitting there is because we danced there. All these new hidden gems dancing in the train stations started with the Mount Boys. I don't care what anybody says. It started with us. Our competition is to show people we're serious about the dance industry. We're serious about the underground community. We may be in commercial, we may be in the commercial realm, but we're still underground.
Right.
We still wanted both credibility. We want to be recognized in the commercial industry and the underground industry. So we started Look Who Came to Dance. This is now to tell why I'm talking about this, because this is the birth of where DJ Dubz came from.
Okay.
And what fueled us and what fueled me. I'll make it short. Luca came to dance. Our biggest thing was having a dance DJ, a DJ that catered to dance and that just wasn't only house. When our dancers, people of my age that didn't know that music but danced to the music that we had now, we wanted, you know, the club scenes were either how many bottles you buying.
Right.
No clubs catered to dancers unless you were the dancer or a promoter like Voodoo that started with DJs like Hard Hitting Harry, DP1, Tony Touch, unless you were going to these events that were catered and geared just for our community.
Right.
Because we were in connections with that, we started the one-on-one battles, $1,000, 2-on-2, 2,000, group battles, 5,000, runner-up, 2,000, last place, 1,000. Why? Because we started to get the people. We were the only competition dishing out that type of money, but still having the best DJs to fit the description, curating the party. And what happened is we couldn't find the right DJs. So I never forget, I threw a Christmas party, 2009, where was the Look Who Came to Dance Christmas party. It was just a giveaway. Me and Aunt went to Best Buy, bought a PlayStation, bought a 42-inch TV, we raffled these gifts. PlayStation, Xbox, TV, surround sound system, Bluetooth. Oh, I don't think Bluetooth speakers was there, but like the 5-in-1 systems. Like we just buying the best gifts that you can raffle off. Microwaves, like the most outlandish shit. Why? Because we wanted people to know that if you came to our event, it was about giving back to our community.
Right.
Hard Hitting Harry was up there. I was in my big Santa suit. I got upstairs and I was stuck by him watching sidebar. Okay, track back real quick. DJ Chase was my cousin, my best friend, family friend. DJ Chase is what inspired me. The first DJ that inspired me, because now I track back to LaGuardia, is when we began to develop who Amount Boys were. Our mixes were done by DJ Chase. How it came about is, here's my music precision. I would literally take tapes, go to Hot 97, record each song, then take the song itself and take a brand new tape and chop these two 8 or 4 bars of the song, stop it, go to the next one, boom, go to him and say, we need a dance tape that sounds like this. Me and Chase would go to Rock and Soul
Rockin' Soul, the legendary Rockin' Soul.
Rock and Soul, legendary Rock and Soul. Pick up doubles of every record.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to his crib. He'd be like, yo, you got me working. He was my first inspiration to DJing, but I didn't know it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because in high school, he would literally sit there, tape off the records and like, yo, these cuts are intricate, bro. Nobody's making cuts like this. I said, but you are.
Right.
He made every single performance that we had for our showcase in LaGuardia called Rising Stars. That's how Mount Boys became the biggest dance group. We had the best mixes. At this time, I didn't know this is what you call executive producing.
Right.
I'm executive producing right now. I'm telling
Right.
him what the music is. I'm cutting the music up. I am now a producer at this point. Fast forward, I'm teaching at Broadway Dance Center. I started on Windows Media. I was on a program called PC DJ. Now, if you were a
Wow.
DJ,
Wow.
your boy DUBZ is making music mixes to warm up his class to on PC DJ, 45-minute mixes. I'm selling them, mixing on PC DJ. The little now, this is when I was told DJing on computers is obsolete. There's no such thing as a mobile DJ. You're not a real DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I was just editing music. To me, it was considered editing, not knowing I was DJing at this time, mixing the music, blending. I would never forget my first mix started with, all I want to see you do is bounce with me, everybody hit the floor. I'm mixing that into, yeah, 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 yeah. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. And yeah, 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 yeah. The whole chorus played out. I remember the mix. I want to those moves. I want to. You are leading. What's your fantasy? Bam, 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 bam.
Right.
Bam, bam. Not knowing I'm understanding what the BPMs are, but that's what we use as our cardio. I'm mixing 70 BPM, bringing it to 140, bringing it back down to like a 45-minute mix that took me through a cardio workout into a cool down. So you know I was jumping genres. My cousin was like, yo, bro, you know you DJing? I was like, nah, I'm just editing music. No, he's like, people say this is not the way to DJ. He said, this is gonna be the future. I was like, it's just a mix. Which now I do all the Mount Boys music. So fast forward, we're back at Rockin' Soul, that whole thing. I get to what brought me to being a DJ. I'm watching Hard Hitting Harry the whole night. I'm mesmerized of him mixing house music. That's when I first learned to a fee. That's the first time I heard the song. In a trance, like watching the crowd move. And I was like, I remember when I danced, that's how much people enjoyed it.
Right.
Hard Hitting Harry is making people feel the same way I felt when I danced. I learned the connection for how much the music moved people. I went home, I went to sleep, I woke up and I said, I'm gonna be a DJ. It's January 1st, I'm like, I need equipment. January 1st, 2010, I need equipment. I'm going to be a DJ. I am going to be a DJ. Call Aunt, yo, Aunt, I figured out the solution for Look Who Came to Dance. I said, our DJ problems are over. He's like, what, you found us a DJ? I said, yep, I found us a DJ that will always be here. He was like, what? You found the mecca of DJs? I was like, yep. He was like, who? I said, me. I said, bro, I'm about to be a DJ. He was like, it was like the light bulb went off. He was like, yo. I said, I can just take what they'll pay the DJ and put it back into the pot. Nigga, it's our event. What more event than I'm the promoter, I'm the DJ, you're the promoter? Yeah. Makes sense.
So,
locked myself in my house for 6 months. 6 months later, did my first Look Who Came to Dance events. That's when we started to connect. Came to you 3 months later, like, yo.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what's funny too, because you know me well. You know me well enough to know that I'm a harsh critic when it comes to DJing and when it comes to this culture, because I put so much time into it.
You live this.
I
This
live
is your
it,
life.
right? So I remember I remember specifically us having a conversation at the Influence series when we were down in Wall Street at Guildhall, because that was when we had Ant. I think that might have been like the first time we officially met.
That's when we officially met. Yep.
Officially met.
Because that's when I came. It was the late night party. I remember that one.
Because Ant was hosting. We had Ant host, right? And because we were celebrating dancers. That was that night. We were celebrating like the dance community. And I remember you was like, yo, we should do something together. And in my mind, I was like, all right, like who the fuck is this kid? Like, who is this guy? Right? So I was like, all right.
Sidebar, before you go on, at that time, you didn't know I was putting in work. Let me tell you how, to when it makes sense to why I approach you that way is one day when Voodoo was throwing his parties at Katra, I told him I was a DJ, and every other DJ was throwing me down, not helping me out. All the DJs I looked up to told him I was DJ, turned around and told me, nah, nigga, stick to dancing. Stay in your lane. I was trying to get a spot, so I came to Voodoo one day. We're promoting Katra. I was like, yo, Voodoo, I'm a DJ now, yo. Oh, I've been doing Look Who Came to Dance. I'm 8 months in. Like, yo, I just want, one of these days, I just want you to put me down for Katra. He was like, okay. He's like, you got your computer? I was like, yeah. You got your needles? I was like, yeah, I left Scratch Academy. I was just there practicing. Funny thing, the guy then thought I was one of the teachers there because I was helping everybody out. He was like, all right, cool. You can open for Big Ben tonight.
Oh, shit.
I was
wow.
Like, I said, you talking about Hot 97 Big Ben? He was like, well, you got everything, right? He was like, yeah. He was like, you ever did a club this big? I was like, nah, we just looked, you came in. He's like, here's your shot. We were getting my first shot, no problem. So, yo, you're on 9 to 12. 8 to 12, sorry.
Right.
8 to 12.
Wow.
Like, you got enough music? I was like, yeah. He's like, keep it 90s theme. It's our R&B. I got in. Yo, I was rocking so hard. By the time Ben came in, he was like, yo, who is this new cat?
Right.
Who is this cat opening for me? I was like, I didn't realize I was rocking so hard. I went over 12 o'clock. I'm in the 12:30 now. You're in New York, 12:30, 1 o'clock. That's when people starting to roll in.
That's when people starting to come in, right?
Rocking. 12:30, I was like, oh, my bad, Big Ben. He was like, nah, son, keep going.
Wow.
I was like, you got it. He was like, I'll jump on in about an hour.
Wow.
I got off. I was so scared. I was like, oh, my God, what I do?
Right.
Then Voodoo was like, yo, the DJ downstairs, you know, Katra had 2 levels.
Yeah.
He was like, the DJ downstairs that's supposed to come is not there. Dubs, can you take care of downstairs? Now, it's the reggae night. This the reggae room.
Wow.
I was like, I'm not prepared because I'm prepared, but I'm not. And I was like, I'm already in my bag. Let me just get down there, and I'm just rocking the reggae night room now.
Right, because now you're just in a groove. You're in a vibe. Like that is you're locked in.
I didn't play no reggae upstairs.
Right.
Just in my 80s and 90s bag of R&B and hip hop. I get downstairs. I'm like, yo. At that point, I'm like, play the stuff you love to dance to.
Right.
I'm now thinking like a dancer. Next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock. He was like, Dubs, you're in now. You're the new opening DJ for Big Ben. Said you don't want nobody else.
Oh, wow.
He said every night he's here, he wants me to open for him.
Wow.
So that's when I came to you.
Right. And I was just kind of like, yo, I don't know who this dude is. Like, I know he's Ann's boy, so I was like, all right, whatever. And then I remember we had some time it went by. We kind of were just talking back and forth about possibly doing something, coming up with some ideas. And I was just like, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if this guy can DJ. I said, but I know he's a dancer, and I know that he has like, you know, great connections, relationships. I was like, so, all right, let's put something together. Let's put something real together so we can have a successful night. Because I remember it was me, you, and Raven, and we, you know, were having a conversation about like putting something together, and we, you know, running around trying to find a spot. So we came up with Off the Wall.
Mm-hmm.
The location was prime. The atmosphere, the vibe was perfect because it's downstairs. It was low ceilings. It was dark, and
it felt like a basement bashment.
It felt like a basement bashment. And for Tuesday nights, it wasn't really our competition, but the only other like hot party that was going on that night was literally up the street at Greenhouse.
Yep.
But Greenhouse was such a completely different vibe and different energy for what we were doing. We were just all about fun and just playing good music and people dancing, which eventually led to one of the most epic birthday parties ever. Ever.
And we had so many, you know, we had J. Cole come in. We had
J. Cole come in. We had Consequence came in. Dude from Mr. Biggs from Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm. We had Naturi at the time before Naturi was. We had them all, man. We had Naturi before she.
Bridget Kelly.
Amanda
Seals. We had Amanda Seals. I think you had moved back to LA at this point, and we were still trying to. It was like towards the end, but she did a guest set for us because you weren't there. I don't know if you were on tour or you had moved to LA, but I brought Amanda Seals in. She did a guest set for us. Yeah, man. Like we had some great times, and from there it was like, okay, cool. Like, all right. First of all, he can DJ. Okay, he can DJ. All right, cool. And then that was it. And then that from there, it's just like we built and established like an amazing brotherhood and friendship.
Let me touch on that too. Again, I knew how good I was then, but again, my ode to you is you made me great. I knew I was stepping into another level of music, and of course age as well too. And you know, like this is where I had to learn to not only play for my people, but to really understand what it is to play for a club, to really read every dynamic in the room and make sure everyone, no matter what song was dropped, catered to each and every single person in that room, no matter the age, the race, the sexuality. It was catering to the brand that we were building. And on top of that, still sticking to the style and performance. We made people come there a certain way because of our style and performance.
Right.
And again, you know, this is why I turn to you and say, I thank you for that inspiration, because that also made me a better DJ. I never wanted to be like put that other DJ back on. I never want to hear that. You know, you've been in that some spots when you get off. They're like, yo, CEO, you done?
You done? You get back on? Yeah,
and then you're near the rest of the party and everybody's like looking at you like, yo, can you please go back on? Right. I never wanted anybody that came from the influence series to feel like that. Like, yo, CEO, what'd you get us into? Why'd you partner with this guy? You know?
Right. And then you broke my heart and then you left me.
I moved back to California.
You moved back to Cali.
And then I started touring.
And then you started touring, right? And then your DJ career went even like crazy. Right? I should have known
then.
then.
DJ career skyrocketed at that point.
Then you became a tour DJ.
I became a tour DJ. I knew I grew into the same phase with dance and choreography. I'm like, yo. And I came just to visit for a dance gig. And then I said to myself, I did the same exact thing DJing in New York. I was like, hey, you know what? Ain't no DJ in LA sound like me at all. I saw the light bulbs go off, saw the cha-ching go off, but many saw the light bulbs go off. And this is where I walked. I had a couple of promoters like, yo, I got a spot, you know. Same way I approached you, I walked in the Hyde, like, yo, y'all need a DJ. Oh, we got one. Y'all don't got one like me. Oh, well, you can open. I said, I won't be opening next week. You sure about that? Yeah. Did one night. I said, plus the crowd I'm going to bring out is completely different. You don't understand the power that I have. And they looked at me like, yo, who is this guy?
Right.
So like, I was so cocky about my DJ career when I moved to LA because no one was moving the way I was. You got the New York City hustle.
Right.
You make it in New York, you make it anywhere. I saw how lazy everybody was in the industry already when I moved here as a dancer, as a choreographer. I seen how complacent people can get. And I was like, y'all ain't trying to get this bag? Like, there's money to be made out here.
Right.
You can become someone week one, I was opening. Week 2, I was still opening. Week 3, I was opening. Then the Harlem Shake Crave came over, and I said, you know what? Y'all gonna recognize me for who I need to be recognized as. I turned around and said, boom. Guess what? I'm now gonna combine my creative direction career with my music career. And I said, I'm not opening after this. I said, this Harlem Shake thing's gonna be a crave. I'm gonna turn my Oscar weekend into a Harlem Shake while DJing. It was so dynamic that the DJ after me did not want to get on.
Con los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.
The next week, I thought I was in trouble. They called me in a week early to introduce me to the head of the Hyde staff. It was like, he's no longer our opening DJ. He is now our official Saturday night DJ. Like, we got to find an opener for him. Casper, who is at the time dating J-Lo, gives me a call. I'm like, what is he calling me for? He's calling me. He's like, yo, I want you to come to this audition. I'm like, yo, bro, I don't dance no more. He's like, no, you got to come to this audition. He's like, I can't tell you who it's for. I know you're DJing. I want you to come DJ. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, if you can't tell me who it is, I can only think about it. J-Lo.
Right.
Casper's dating J-Lo at this point. He's 2-3 years in. I'm like, it's got to be J-Lo. Fast forward. It was Mike Posner, and then we were supposed to do it. We weren't supposed to leave for 2 months later. I get a call 2 weeks after that, like, hey, so guess what? The tour, they've got an opening to do a tour, and it starts next week. And I was like, yo, that's my birthday weekend. Like, on my birthday, first show, my first major world tour starts in LA, San Diego Arena with Mike Posner, Justin Bieber tour on my birthday. My first U.S. world tour. And one before that, I did a tour the year before that was when I told the artist, I'm not dancing anymore. I just choreographed the tour. She says, well, what can I do to get you to dance? I said, jokingly, you can put the DJ set in your show. I said, I'll dance for you then. I came back, international tour, Cheryl Cole. So when I was DJing Will I Am, she put a full 10-minute set in her show for me. Not only did I have to choreograph, be dance captain, I now had to DJ and dance. I had to learn the tour in a week.
Wow.
So now my first major tour overseas was with Cheryl Cole, dancer, choreographer, dance captain.
You're getting them
DJ.
checks. That's what that sounds like to me. Is you getting checks.
And I was getting a check for each one of them, mother.
Man, listen, that's how you do it.
That's how you
do it.
Good, baby. But then it became surreal. That's where I had to depart from Off the Wall because now, like you said, I became a tour DJ. And from Mike Posner, it took off. Mike Posner, Justin Bieber, Kesha. The year after that, I was Ariana Grande. After that, Pharrell, just Kendrick. Just now I'm sitting in the room with producers and doing different ideas. And now I'm co-musical director. Ariana's tour helped me co-musical direct. Mike Posner tour, I got thrown into it. I was musical directing, learning Ableton. So now I'm producing stuff. Now I'm doing show opens, and it just grew from there. Like, you know, to now leading back to my last client ever was J-Lo. But I built so much relationships in the music and dance realm. When it full circled back around to J-Lo, it was everyone that I've either trained, that has worked for me as a choreographer, that I've worked with as a creative director, and they were a musical director. Now I know that I'm DJing and trusted in me to be a DJ for the person that they were with. Same thing with Ariana Grande. Their creative directors were like, yo, we need a DJ. I was like, we can call one. Scooter was like, we can get Tay, but he was like, no, we got one. Scooter met me. He was like, he's perfect. You know, because the choreographers at the time, I trained back in New York at Broadway Dance Center.
Yeah. Let's get into, but wait, before we get into the chefing and the cooking, We mentioned it earlier. We wanted to tie back something in full circle because I know you said you don't dance anymore in the sense like you're not a hired dancer to go on tour and dance with people, but you still choreograph.
I do.
I know you choreograph tours, you choreograph television shows, you do choreograph award shows. And the full circle that we were talking about before, how you said your first television appearance was on Soul Train, and your full circle is that you became the choreographer for American Soul, the television series about Soul Train.
Yes.
How did that, when you got that call, how did that feel? How did it even happen?
It was, at first it was unrealistic. So now, shout out to, I don't even know what to call her at this point other than, I hate calling her my boss because she's done so much for me other than, she is another one of my soulmates that looks out. Shout out to Fatima Robinson. For those who don't know, I work hand in hand, side by side, family friend. Like I am damn near family to the one and only Fatima Robinson. Short history. Only 2 names I need to drop to go, oh, that's Fatima. Michael Jackson, Remember the Time. Anything Aaliyah. All Fatima Robinson. Hands down.
And didn't she do Rock the Boat?
She did everything Aaliyah. She did Rock the Boat.
Mm-hmm.
And her last music video ever and transition all in the same time was Michael Jackson, Remember the Time. Michael Jackson comes and says, I want you to choreograph for me. I like the way you dance. I don't know why people, when they imitate Michael, they have to do that voice. But that's how we hear him and see him. Yeah, she was dancing for Bobby Brown, MC Hammer, everybody you can think of, legendary, Heavy D. And then she was asked to step from in front of the camera to behind the camera, starting with Michael. And that's what changed her life. So because I'm her sister, any call she gets, I get. Jesse Collins knows us very well. Jesse Collins knows me very well as Fatima. We got the call for American Soul. Why I said it revolves full circle is because in '98 I was doing Keisha, and our first performance was on Soul Train. So I did get a chance to meet Don Cornelius at the time, who had already was overseeing the show because Shamar Moore, I want to say at that time, was the host.
Mm-hmm.
But Don Cornelius was there, and I would never forget, I asked him, hey, can I go down the line? And he said, the line's not for you. The line's not for professional dancers.
Mm. Wow.
And I said, it's always been my dream to be on Soul Train and go down the line. And he said, you're in a bigger place now.
Wow. To get those words from Don Cornelius have to be like, you almost have to go like, time out. I need to go walk away. I need to catch my breath, grab a drink. But at the same time, you're like, I hear that. I hear you, Don. I hear you. But
I need to go down the line.
Need to go down the line. Like the line, regardless of where you are, because it's a Soul Train. It's us. It's our culture. It's who we are. It's a national treasure. And for Black entertainment, for Black music, for Black culture, it is one of the most important television shows ever. And growing up, all you wanted to do was be on a Soul Train line.
Soul Train line.
Well, any wedding you go to, any Black event you go to, there's going to be a Soul Train line. To be able to have an opportunity to go down the actual Soul Train line on Soul Train is bigger than being a professional.
I did eventually do it, but not with Keisha.
Mm-hmm.
I did it when I came back with 3LW.
Oh, okay.
And I came back to Soul Train. Of course, Don Cornelius wasn't there at the time. So me being slick, I was like, I'm going down the line this time. I asked Shamar Moore. And Shamar Moore understood the legacy of it too and said, no, you can't go down the line You can go down the line as long as the cameras aren't on,
Okay.
because they respect the integrity of when the artist, to them, I'm an artist.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm with the artist. I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
The Soul Train line wasn't for artistic performers to come down.
Gotcha.
They wouldn't even let you'd never see back then. They never let even the artists come down the line. There's only one show that the artist has come down the line. And the only way, and it's a show we recently filmed too, came down the line with Don Cornelius, because Don Cornelius, but it didn't happen in the 90s. It only happened in the 70s.
Mm. Mm.
He's very, very particular of how separated he kept them. He kept the difference. Very well-structured businessman. And the story American Soul is about the Don Cornelius life. So it's bigger than just Soul Train.
Mm-hmm.
It's how he developed Soul Train. It's how they tried to steal Soul Train from him. It's what he did to keep Soul Train. It's about his business relationships, his family orientation. So to be back at it full circle, for me to tell people like, yo, I was on one of his last shows before,
Right.
and I'm now choreographing, 2 seasons in a row. So surreal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. Your career has taken so many different lives. I wouldn't even say directions. I think you've constantly gone in the same direction, but it's just looked different at different moments, from being a dancer and a teacher and instructor to a street dancer to going on tour dancing, becoming a choreographer, to becoming a DJ and a music director, and continuing to do your choreography and doing it for the award shows and doing it for music videos and television shows and all this other stuff. But now you have another thing on your belt, which in true West Indian form, because you can't just have one job.
You can't just have one job, baby.
Can't just have one job. You're now a chef.
I've embraced the culinary fundamentals and achievements. Like you said, you specified a keyword, Caribbean. Our family in the kitchen, it's heritage when they cook in the kitchen.
Yes.
It's all traditional. That's what they know. They're always cooking for large parties. I recently said, prior this would turn around full circle, one of the chefs that I shadow and I seek advice for, to other than like Anthony Bourdain and doing the research like Gordon Ramsay or Osteria and so on and so forth, is Chef Chiron.
Oh, wow.
York.
Okay. So
Chef
Chiron was one of our original promoters. He was one of our original promoters for Off the Wall. That is crazy.
Crazy, huh?
Crazy.
I just talked to him last night. I shadow Chef Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
I run all my dishes past him. I'll just create things and send it to him. And Chef Chiron is one of the reasons, not only, like me just being able to, I started cooking because I wanted to impress women, I moved to LA. I'm now on my own. I wanted to cook, but I didn't just want to cook basic. And I wanted to defy, turn to put a different picture on what cooking is, especially in the Caribbean world. I moved here and I said, Mom, when I make it, what's not in California? A West Indian restaurant. What's not on the West Coast? What's not in Vegas? What's not in Texas? I said, we need to franchise Caribbean food. And you're the best Caribbean. We all think our parents are the best Caribbean chefs in the world. But once you learn the art of it, and that's already embedded in me, the art, the creativity, the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
The plates became a stage, a canvas to me. It became dance on a plate, choreography on a plate, creative direction on a plate. I started to look at the kitchen in a whole different world.
Mm.
It began to look at a stage. It's a stage for me. When I put a plate in front of people, I want it to be an experience, because that's what when people think of me and what I have to offer, I always want it to be an experience. As a dancer, as a choreographer, it's an experience. Being on stage with J-Lo, me performing, me DJing, me live. When you come in, it's an experience. When you get in the kitchen with me and I put a plate in front of you, it's an experience. Why I say that? Sammy Davis, Sammy Davis Jr. is one of my favorites, and I feel that's why I continue to find motivation in doing something different always, because he They said there was nothing that he couldn't do that he didn't want to do.
Mm.
He was a drummer. He was a singer. He was an actor. He was a tapper. He was everything. He was dancing. He was everything.
He was a performer. He was an entertainer.
He was an entertainer.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the
course,
greats. Mm-hmm.
One of the greats, but also, I look at him as the GOAT. I take pages out of his book. I studied under Fred Astaire. I studied under Ginger Rogers. I studied under Sammy Davis Jr. I studied, these are the people that in my history I looked up to. But most importantly, him being a brother, what he identified as, and his ability to do everything he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I pay homage to that. I tell my kids, there's nothing you can't do. You can do everything.
I'll say this: I haven't had a chance to sample any of your current stuff, the fancy shit that you're doing now. But I will say, folks who are watching this, I've tasted Dub's cooking before. You had a Christmas dinner party at your house in Canarsie.
In Canarsie.
You live in Canarsie, and I remember I came out there because I was actually already in Canarsie because my family's in Canarsie, and I was already in Canarsie, and I came over, and it was more of a traditional Caribbean type,
just pans spread, everywhere,
pans everywhere, with macaroni pie and curry goat, and this and all this other stuff.
Just all different foods, like
and it was really good. So from dancer to teacher to choreographer to DJ to music director, still doing choreography, and now a chef. What is next for Dubz?
That's a hard question, because it's a hard and it's an easy question. Because a lot of the times I've turned to myself and I said every year I choose a new craft or a talent to begin to learn and master. There's several times I said I want to completely learn an instrument. I want to completely play the drums, play the piano, enhance my musical ability. I don't know what's next, but I am on a path right now to secure legacy for my kids and generational wealth. Mm-hmm. As I've gotten older, the maturity I am now, I'm turning to, I guess, to economics, mm-hmm. the fundamentals of finance. So I'm in and this is a hard skill to learn. I'm learning how stocks and trading now. It's a whole different ball game too now. Yeah. But outside of that, in the entertainment world, it hasn't hit me yet. I don't know. And it usually, same way the culinary thing hit me, it was January 1st, 2016. I woke up in Jamaica, had the dish the night before. I'm like, 2017, I'm like, I'm gonna be a chef. Just do it. I think I'm already, like you already tapped into it. I'm already assessing a line for what I want to do, like a clothing line, but I also want to attach it to something that helps men create stability in their life. That also like my give back, and also a mentorship to showing men, of color, or all men, or any type of man, using the transition of what you started with to create a path to be successful. Another level for me was actually being a dad, slowing down, just really being a father. Mm-hmm. To master that is, especially a Black man, there's a stigma on our people and men in general, Black men in general, that we don't take care of our families,
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's why I strive so hard to make sure I'm successful in each one, so my child can know there is a very high success rate for a man like you, whether you're mixed or not.
I think that's the beautiful thing. I think that's the beautiful thing about hip hop, though. I think hip hop, for many of us that come out of the places that we come from, we have all these amazing skill sets and these dreams, but a lot of times come from the hood. Your dreams get snuffed out one way or another. And
Yeah.
then so when you have a gift or a talent that can get you out of the hood, right? Yours was dancing, mine is being a DJ. Um, for whoever it is, Rihanna's, being a singer, like that takes you out of it. But then it's like, because of the people that came before us, because of the Russell Simmons, because of the P. Diddy's,
Yeah.
because of, the Jay-Z's, all these people who have, or the Queen Latifahs, who have shown us like, yo, once you get here, you ain't got to stay here. So before I go, the name of the show is The Loop. So at the end of the show, I have 2 questions for folks that I have them answer. I'm a hip hop head, so you're definitely gonna get a top 5. A top 5 question is usually based on whatever the guest expertise is, and what it is that they do. You do a multitude of things, but we're gonna focus on dancing.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
so I well, actually, no. Actually, I intended on asking you. You're gonna give me 2 top 5s. That's what you're gonna
2
do.
top 5.
Give me 2 top 5s.
Okay, cool.
All right. So the first top 5 is, who are your top 5 choreographers of all time?
Ooh.
And let me.
Okay, so my top 5, and I'm speaking from a creative standpoint. Of course, I have to put, not only because and I say she because she is legendary, and I work closely alongside her. Fatima Robinson is definitely one of my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, I would be a fool not to. Floating after that, Tone and Rich, the Talawega brothers,
So
who've also worked with Fatima Robinson, worked under Fatima Robinson as well too.
Philip has been trying to connect us for years, and it just has not happened. I think I met Rich one night randomly somewhere, but they've been trying to connect us for a minute, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Yo, man, when you meet them, especially because you're a house head too,
Mm-hmm.
the connection dynamic. Akaman Jones, who has also worked under Fatima Robinson, but a talent out of Atlanta, who is by far the cleanest and most amazing dancer you will ever meet.
Okay.
But also choreographer. Like, I pay to see him dance. Like Gene Kelly.
Oh, that's that name is a GOAT by itself. Yes.
Just Gene Kelly. I need not say more about that. And I might have to give you top 6, but Fred Astaire.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, crazy enough, but Barishnikov. I have to give you a top 6.
Okay.
So I have my 3 hip hop and my 3 classical. And I know you said hip hop.
No, I
did
didn't
say hip, but you didn't? Oh, okay, cool.
No, I said because I'm hip hop, I want a top 5, but it didn't have to be a top 5
cool.
in hip hop.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So now your second top 5 is going to be, who are your top 5 DJs of all time?
All right. My top 5. DJ Jazzy Jeff.
The God. The God.
He doesn't know this, but he helped me through my online learning process when all the DJs said that, no to me and wouldn't teach me and wouldn't help me understand the fundamentals. But DJ Angelo, DJ Angelo UK, the reason why I locked myself in the room and I studied every night was because of DJ Angelo. DJ Scratch from Brooklyn, he's definitely one of my top 5. Oh my gosh, this is now I'm thinking of what scale, and I'm thinking more of the inspirational scale. I've never looked into my top 5. If I start talking, you know, those are like my top 3, I would say. I don't
Okay.
have a top 5 because everything else is inspiration. I've said this before. My top inspirations, how about I do that? I love to do that. DJ CEO, could you not? On some real, like DJ CEO, like just seeing you work and perform in New York. Like I don't see any other DJs out there in New York that I'm just like, yo, this nigga's dope. Like my cousin Chase, of course, was the inspiration. DJ Chase, DJ Ease.
Yeah.
Yo,
And Ease speaks highly of you as well. Well, he spoke a couple
it's
times just
crazy.
about what's going on. He was like, that's your man? I was like, yeah, that's my man. And he was like, yo,
Yo.
like, dude, get busy. Yeah.
Man, he doesn't even know how much I tell him a few times, but I'm like, bro, you're an inspiration to see people who like I said, my inspiration, who give off the same, not that understand the fundamentals, are able to teach the fundamentals, and able to show the entertainment value of it as well too.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from you, Chase, Angelo, and Ease. I've watched you guys today, and I'm like, Jazzy, you know, more than just businessmen. You guys are performers. You guys are entertainers. You guys are inspiration. Yeah, I would literally, you know, put you guys on a roster and be like, yo, who wants to battle my team? Y'all can't mess with this team right here. They said I can pick all those 6 in my squad. I don't think anybody, I don't know, maybe I have to do more research, but I don't know any DJs messing with y'all.
No, let me tell you, you're right. Would nobody be able to see us? Telling you right now, nobody. I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. I take.
I'm not saying it because you're on the show. We built this relationship.
No, I get it. No, I know.
This is true. Like, you know, I know Tony Touch is nice. I love him in the house. Oh God, Benny Medina. Not Benny Medina. What's his name?
Rich Medina.
My God, Rich Medina. I'm working with Rich Medina. Can't leave him out. Yeah. As well too.
Rich
Medina's
a beast.
You know the type of people I'm talking about. You can tell that when I got in the game, these are the people I studied then and I'm studying now, because they play a huge part in music history, for me at least. You know, I've known the same people that are, you know, I can't account for everybody, but if you do your homework, they are part of the reason why some of the DJs are where they are, and especially Jazzy, you know, household name.
I think he's been everybody's inspiration. Even the people that
I think
you mentioned as inspirations, he's inspired us. So yeah, that's just all it is greatness. All it is greatness passed down. That's all it is.
And just so I have more knowledge, who are your top 5?
Well, of course, Jeff is my number 1.
Okay.
Jeff is in my top 5 DJs of all time. One of the people that I look to that kind of like push me musically is DJ MoMA. Every time I'm around DJ MoMA,
I forget about MoMA.
Every time I'm around
MoMA and MOS,
yeah,
they were my huge music influences for me in New York. The underground, man.
Yeah, when I was back in New York, those guys, like when I would go to parties that they were DJing, they would always be playing stuff that I didn't think that you could play in a club. They played stuff I didn't think it would be your favorite song, but stuff that you just wouldn't play in the club. And that's when they kind of helped, between them two and then my boy Mike, they helped me to kind of open up, to unlock the key to what I can do musically and in a club, and understand that there's more than just hip hop and R&B, and then the same like 10 old school records, and then the same soca records, and the same whatever. Like, they really opened up my musical palette as far as being a DJ. So I want to shout them out. So definitely Moment, MOS. Ease is definitely one of my favorites. Without question, he's just like ridiculously nasty with it. He knows how to rock a party, and his turntablism is on a whole nother level. Scratch is definitely up there with me as well. Like, he's one of the illest performers I've ever seen. Like an actual performer as a DJ, he's one of the illest I've ever seen. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, when people ask me, I just go as Jeff and then everybody else. That's it. That's it.
You notice that's the first one to name. I was
It's like it's Jeff, and then the other 4 spots are all number 2. Like,
like
you know
everybody
what I mean?
else is inspiration, but he is like,
Yeah,
he's like
yeah,
it's very hard, but he's 1 through 5, and
yeah. He's 1 through 5.
you know,
for
when
most
you
of the-
when you see him, you understand. I've actually learned that. I've always wondered why his music, his performances sound so great. He's
So-
sonically.
He's sonically insane. I'm sorry. Another person who's actually definitely on my top 5 without question is Mel Star. DJ Mel Star is definitely on my top 5. He is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
Mel Star is insane. He's musically he's insane, and his cuts and scratches are so clean.
They're precise. They're clean.
So precise. So he's definitely one of my favorites. So we going because you got to go and I got to go.
Man,
and I know how this is when we get together and then we get to talk. So like I said, on the loop, I was asked, like, if there's one, and you're a dancer, right? But this is one I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna put this to the chef aspect of you, since you wear so many hats. If there's one meal, one dish that you can eat every day, all day, 24/7, 365, what would that meal be?
Shoot, that's hard. It's crazy because it's changed, but right now it would be. Actually, I'm lying. It'd be. Ooh, that's hard. It'd probably be Japanese ramen.
Japanese ramen? Okay.
Yeah, and I say that because, like, a real authentic Japanese ramen. I've grown out of that. It used to be pizza. It used to be mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It used to be, but it comes real close to either Japanese ramen or buffalo wings. Like, they go head and head with each other. Like, when I don't know what to eat, those are the first 2 places I go to. I'll find a Japanese ramen spot that's open, and my spot stays open in LA till 2 a.m. And then I got the wing truck that stays open till 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm like that with Thai food. Like, if all else fails, Thai.
Yeah.
So,
but Japanese food in general, like maybe like there's sushi, and I say Japanese food because I'm like, if you tell me a cuisine that I got for the rest of my life, I say Japanese.
Japanese.
I'd have
Okay,
sushi.
so yeah, we'll do cuisine. Cuisine is good. Japanese. I could do that.
Japanese.
We could do that.
Hands down.
I love Japanese food, and Japanese food tastes significantly different than other Asian cuisines. Significantly different.
Yep.
Significantly different. We got to get out of here. I
Yo,
know you and I, we can talk for hours.
That means we just need to converse more.
We just need to talk more. I feel like this whole interview or this conversation was like a catch up. It wasn't even about you. It was like, yeah, so what you been doing? But as always, brother, man, you know, I got nothing but love for you, man.
Thank you.
You are an amazing talent, and even more of an amazing person with how much you give back to all of your communities. Black community, dance community, DJ community. You're always giving back, and you're always doing your part to uplift and contribute to the community so that it's better. So I greatly appreciate you for that. And I thank you so much for being on the loop. Really quick, just tell everybody where they can find you, social media wise.
I am in 2 places. Instagram, you can find me at I am DJ DUBZ. That's I-AM Apple Mary DJ DUBZ DUBZ zebra, and Dishes by Dubs. That will be my chef page and my DJ personal, just me. The 2 pages you can find me is I am DJ DUBZ on Instagram or Dishes by Dubs on Instagram.
Dope, my brother. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time so we can kick in and catch up. And you're absolutely right. We need to converse a lot more, and we will.
Hold me accountable for a couple other things, man. So
we will. Now we'll make it happen.
Thank you, brother.
Once again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. This has been The Loop. My name is DJ CEO. I will catch you next time.
See ya.